Hey YouTube, USA Second Amendment here with another video for you guys. As you can see, I have a shooting range. If you've been following my channel for a little bit, you know that a little over a year we moved. I'm on 20 acres, and something I wanted was to have my own private shooting range. So there it is. This is actually version 2.0. I'll explain about that a little bit in a minute. Let me walk down here for you guys. It's not a super long shooting range. It's not super wide. You could fit or you could shoot 2 people at the same time, maybe 3. Range-wise, as far as how much distance, I mean, realistically, maybe 50 yards. Nothing really further than that. But that's exactly what I wanted it for. So as you can see, my setup here, I have steel targets to the left, and obviously the wood backer to the right. The steel targets, if you guys have questions about those, I have a separate video on my channel already about those. So just look up that. It has the brand and the website, where you get them from, and all that good stuff. So the reason this is version 2.0, you can see some wet plywood over there on the ground, is originally I had these 4x4s. Let me walk up here. So originally I had these 4x4s right here in the ground. I had them buried in the ground about 1.5 feet, 2 feet down. And I guess it wasn't enough. Hurricane Michael came through and blew the entire structure over, I guess because the ground was wet. And it just couldn't hold it. So version 2.0, my wife actually suggested, she's like, why don't you make some footers for it like you see there, and that way it's not in the ground. We can actually lay this down if we want to. It would take 2 people to do it, but we could actually lay it down on its face and then stand it back up if we wanted to. So for now, I put a log, big old log back there, just to help give it some more stability. But yeah, so pretty simple, straightforward. Those are 4x4s that are on the ends. I use 2x4s for the feet, and then I use 2x4 going across the top and a 2x4 going across the bottom. In case you're wondering, that's 12 feet across. The 4x4s on the end are different heights because this land, the way it is, it naturally slopes down that way just a little bit, which is actually good for runoff. So I shouldn't end up with puddles on my range outside of mud. As you can tell, it's wet right now. So yeah, 12 feet, 4x4s, 2x4s. Everything is pressure treated wood except for the 2x4s running up top and the 2x4 running at the bottom of the plywood. The plywood itself is not pressure treated. I didn't see a reason to do that because there's going to be a lot of holes put into the plywood and probably holes put into those 2x4s. Also, those 2x4s and that plywood are not touching the ground. As you can see, when it does touch the ground, that's what happens. So I went out and got new plywood instead of trying to mess with that plywood. It is soaked, it is wet, it is heavy. Not only that, the nails ripped through. I say the nails, the screws, I'm sorry, because it got so wet and all. You guys can see this. It just tore right through this, and it wasn't even holding on anymore once it got blown over and then soaked by the rain. So anyway, obviously this is going to get wet too, but this should hold up pretty well. So what I did basically, I carved, you guys saw at the beginning of the video, I carved an alley through the woods. Me and a buddy literally did that by hand with a chainsaw and a machete. So we carved an alley through the woods. I had 2 truckloads of dirt delivered. So total about 70,000 pounds worth of dirt. Each truckload was approximately 35,000 pounds. That's what I was told by the company that delivered it. Each truckload cost me $150 delivered. So $300 total for dirt. My father-in-law, he was able to get a skid steer from his work, and he was able to bring that down, and he was able to help carve out this a little bit more, and then obviously push some more dirt up there for the mound. Honestly, the way my land is laid out, I really didn't need a mound at all. I could set this up, shoot into my woods, and it would not bother anybody. It would just end up falling somewhere on my property. However, I wanted to be, you know, good about it and do it the right way, especially if anybody complains or, you know, for whatever reason or anything like that. So I have a huge backstop, a huge berm, And this is after runoff, guys. This is after a lot of runoff. This is after a hurricane runoff. So it's definitely a good berm. All the way down to the bottom there. Definitely a good berm. It's going to work well. It's going to serve its purpose. And yeah, I don't know what else to say about it. The steel targets, obviously, I have shot on those already, and these are awesome. There's that, in case you were just wondering, or too lazy to go look at the other video, like I mentioned. So, all in all, this range cost me probably about, let me think, probably about $700. Right at about $700, you know, in the dirt. I got 300 in the dirt. I got in the wood probably, I don't know, $80, $100 in the wood. The steel targets themselves were actually a gift. However, they cost about $180. And then you got the T-post there. So that's just a rough estimate, rough number. I didn't have to pay to rent a skid steer or a backhoe. If I would have had to do that, that would have been another about $300 added on. Thankfully, my father-in-law has access to pretty much any equipment anybody could need. So with the business that he does. So anyway, but that's it, guys. So let me know what you think in the comments below. Let me know if you have a range, if you have a video to your range. And yeah, just let me know what you think. If you have any ideas, any suggestions moving forward, anything like that. And I know somebody's going to comment on this already, so I'll go ahead and address it. Yes, I know the berm is not above the steel targets right there. But my land, and I don't know if you can tell from this video, it literally slopes up that way, and then it slopes down across the land. So my point is, even if I shoot over this target, if I shoot right there, it's still going to fall on my land. No way it's going anywhere else. So I'm not really worried about it. The berm was just for extra precaution. All right. Thank you guys for watching. Stay safe. God bless America.